Good evening, I am Coach S. Blancer, the coach for your Dallas Staryu, and tonight I am bringing you the team builder for our Week 2 Pokemon Masters Cup Season 2 match against Akki and the Portland Crobats. This is a very important match because this is a divisional rival. I will face him not only this week, but later on down the road in, I believe, Week 11. As I face all my divisional rivals twice. So this win matters a lot. These are also the people that I am competing directly with for things like the division championship and even wild card spots within my conference. So I need to make sure that I'm on my game and I stay on top with these matches. Now I am facing a very difficult opponent. He was the champion of the PMC D-League. And he's a very good battler. You should absolutely go and check out his channel in the description below and see his team builder and his side of the battle as well as mine, because that's what we do here. You know, all the coaches, we all support each other, so check me out. Also check my opponent, please do so. But let's get into his roster. So we have a Mega Venusaur. We have Infernape, Thundurus Incarnates, Hydreigon, Rotom Wash, Mandibuzz, Reuniclus, Dugtrio, Rhyperior, Miltank, and Ditto. And, you know, I thought that I had a pretty bulky offensive team, but this guy's got a really bulky offensive team. I think he outdid me on the bulky offense. The Mega Venusaur and Mandibuzz combo is a very difficult combo to break. And then he's got things like Rotom Wash in there just to add to it. Reuniclus is an absolute threat. Rhyperior is underrated. It can definitely rock polish and do things. And Ditto makes it really hard to set up, especially if he plays Ditto correctly. So I don't know how this is going to go. This is actually a very difficult matchup, but when you look at his team, you see a couple of glaring weaknesses, and the most obvious one to me is that he has absolutely no dragon resists on his team at all, whatsoever. None. So I did some calculations for critical hit Kingdra. If I set up a focus energy with a scope lens on Kingdra, on a modest Kingdra, and I just start dropping Dracos, Draco Meteor will one-hit KO every single Pokemon on his team, with the notable exception of a fully specially defensive Mega Venusaur and a fully specially defensive Mandibuzz, neither of whom can actually touch Kingdra back. Although Mandibuzz can face Kingdra out with Whirlwind. But that is insane. And I am hoping that I can capitalize on that weakness today. Another weakness I found when I saw his team was that he is a lot of exposure to Roserade. But will I bring Roserade? I really wanted to, but I went down a different route because there are two big threats on his team that really stop any sweeping from going on. Stop setup, it stops that fast setup sweep that I like to try to do, especially on Kingdra, and that's Ditto, who, if I were to go into Focus Energy Kingdra, start dropping Dracos, and he brought a Scarf Ditto in, now I'm going to be on the opposite end of that, taking Sniper critical hit Draco Meteors, and I don't want that, although I am a little bit better equipped than the Portland Crobats to handling that situation. And also Thundurus, whom with Prankster can Thunderwave my setup sweeper. So let's get into what I am bringing for this week to try to overcome the D-League champion. So starting off, we have Zoroark. Zoroark is a hasty nature, some pseudo-mixed. I mean, the physical is U-turn. We got Night Days, which has a 40% chance of lowering the accuracy of my opponent. Extra sensory, U-turn for the momentum, and counter with a focus sash. Now, counter is a little interesting for a Zoroark to run because it is so weak to anything. You know, this is like that bulky Manectric set from last week, except we're not going bulky. We're just going to try to be tricky here with the Focus Sash. But I am running the Hasty Nature, which is a negative defense nature. And the idea here is my opponent really likes to scout using Volt Turn. Really likes to scout using Volt Turn. In fact, I think he over-relies on it a little too much. And I am hoping that I can capitalize on that with a Focus Sash counter. Because I am envisioning right now an Infernape lead, and he could set up Stealth Rocks, but if I'm hiding behind something like a Mew, then he'll be inclined to want to U-turn out. Now U-turn will take me all the way down my Sash, which means whatever he U-turns into will die. Even if he went into a max HP Reuniclus for whatever reason because he'll break my illusion on the dark type Pokemon, it would kill it. It will kill Mandibuzz coming in, it will kill Mega Venusaur coming in, and if I can one-shot a Pokemon on his team right off the bat, especially if it's one of his very difficult to break Wall Core, then it is absolutely worth it. Now the downsides to this is if I'm brought down to Sash, obviously I won't be able to play mind games with Zoroark, but I'm really not trying to do that this week. I'm really not. So the other part of this is leading Zoroark, it also prevents him from leading Ditto. So I don't really know how well Akki plays with Ditto because he has no uploads on his channel where he's used Ditto. But there's a lot of things that people don't really know about Ditto. There's a lot of people that don't really know how Ditto works. And Ditto, the Imposter ability, or even the move Transform, it cannot transform into a Pokemon that is behind an illusion, aka Zoroark that is behind another Pokemon. Now if that illusion is broken, he can absolutely transform into the Zoroark. But if he decides to lead Ditto, then he will be left very vulnerable. And I can just go for a Night Daze or Extra Sensory or U-turn or whatever I want to get a good jump on my opponent, because he won't be able to do anything with that Ditto. He'll risk killing it, and I really do need to kill it or cripple it to do what I want to do this week. So that is my Zoroark set, and I'm hoping that it works out. So going into my next Pokemon, and this next Pokemon here is going to be the star of the show, and that is Bojack, our critical hitting Kingdra, with Sniper Scope Lens, and it's running Draco Meteor, Agility, Focus Energy, and Substitute, with Modest Nature, Max Special Attack, only 20 in speed, and that is to outspeed a bulky defensive Rotom Wash. And then the rest is peppered in HP to give me an odd number, and the leftovers in defense and special defense. So this is what I'm hoping sweeps, and all I really need is Draco Meteor. But I specifically designed this to only have Draco Meteor, and the reason for that is this allows me to be able to come in with this mid-match to try to break down a wall with Draco Meteor, and when Ditto comes in, I can still switch out to Togekiss, and my opponent won't be able to do anything to me because my Fairy typing, I'll be immune to the Draco Meteor. That's why I'm not running Scald, which, you know, even a 2.25 times modified critical Scald will do a lot of damage against a specially defensive Mom even. So I don't want to deal with that, and especially not Ice Beam, even though my opponent has something like 6 weaknesses to it. Although, to be fair, he's also got Thick Fats, which shows up as a weakness, but it's really not. We have Agility to try to set up the speed. We have the Focus Energy to obviously set up the critical hit rate, which is necessary. And we have the Substitute because maybe I can get a jump. Really, it was a fourth move, and I could not choose an attacking move for obvious reasons. So I'm not running any more speed than this because when you look at my opponent's team, his speed tiers, he's got some very fast mons like the Dugtrio with the base 120, the Thundurus at 111, and the Infernape at 108. And then it jumps down to Hydreigon at 98, and then everything in the middle is kind of defensive, and then he's got really slow mons. So there's absolutely no reason to try to speed creep anything other than the defensive Rotom Wash. There's no purpose to it. So I invested the rest in bulk so I can possibly take hits, because in order for this strategy to work, I need to Thunder Wave everything that's faster, which is Infernape. I need to slow things down like the Thundurus, which you'll see that in a bit, how I plan to do that. I need to do something about the Ditto. So really I need to Thunder Wave Infernape, Thunder Wave or kill the Ditto, and do my tricky things or kill the Thundurus Incarnate in order to pull this off. Because at that point I'll be faster than everything and I can just start dropping Dracos. Now Infernape I can take a hit because quad resist fire. The close combat will hurt, but I can take it with this bulk and possibly do a lot of work. So that is the hope. But let's go into our next Pokemon. And our next Pokemon here is Scolipede. Running an offensive set yet again, with Mega Horn, Rock Slide, Aqua Tail, Swords Dance, holding a Focus Sash, and Speed Boost. Now the hope with this is that I can use it to get a revenge kill on something and lure in the Ditto so I can kill it with the Focus Sash Rock Slide. Because this thing right here, it's a very good thing for Ditto to come in on after my opponent loses a Pokemon. Because if I'm running Baton Pass, then he can take all the speed boosts that I've had up to that point, and he can just straight up Baton Pass out. And if he were to do that into something like Rhyperior, that would be downright scary. So I do not want to give him that opportunity. Instead, I want to try to use what I think he's going to do to kill the Ditto, because Ditto is a very big stop to my Draco Meteor sweep. We are running Mega Horn because it's base 120 stab and it has fantastic coverage. It hits a lot of his offense super effective. The Reuniclus, it'll hit Mandibuzz neutrally, it'll hit Mega Venusaur neutrally, and it just hits hard. Hydreigon, it'll OHKO it. It's my hardest hitting move against most of his team. We have Rock Slide, which is mostly to kill the opposing Ditto transformed into myself. We have Aqua Tail, because Rhyperior is 4 times weak. I can kill Infernape with it. I can kill Dugtrio with it. And that's my best answer to that, because I'm not running Roserade this week, no matter how good a matchup Roserade has. And the reason for that is because of Infernape. So my EV spread, we are running max attack and max speed so that we can outspeed Thundurus by 1 point. Because that's... max speed is speed creeping the Thundurus Incarnate, unfortunately. So I can't invest in any bulk. But if I'm in on Thundurus, it is absolutely worth it to take the Thunder Wave to try to get that thing out of here. Because Thundurus with Prankster Thunder Wave is another stop to my Draco Meteor sweep. Because then too many things will outspeed Kingdra. So Scolipede is... the plan for Scolipede is to kill Ditto and or the Thundurus Incarnate. Or if I get into a little bit of trouble with the Focus Sash, I can try to deliver a knockout on my opponent in return. So moving on, we have Togekiss. Togekiss is also running a more bulky offensive set, but you'll see that I'm running Trick with an Iron Ball. My other moves being Air Slash, Dazzling Gleam, and Thunder Wave. So, Togekiss here. My main concern for the Kingdra was the Ditto and the Thundurus. And if I come in on Togekiss, especially if I come into Togekiss on something like Mandibuzz, but possibly on Mega Venusaur, although I do have to watch out for Sludge Bomb, that is most likely to force a switch. And what better to switch into a Togekiss than a Thundurus Incarnate. I mean, if I were laddering on Showdown and I had a Togekiss come in on me and I had a Thundurus in the back, then I would feel pretty safe going into Thundurus because Togekiss can't touch my Thundurus. Obviously not, right? You know, I'm going to soak up any Thunder Wave. The Air Slash is resisted. I mean, it can Ancient Power me, but that's only base 60 and I can take that. Unless it's Scarfed and it's a 2-hit KO, but then I just play around that because I know he's locked in. So I think I can trick an Iron Ball onto that thing. And if I trick an Iron Ball onto Thundurus Incarnate, one, it becomes not flying anymore. Still a flying type, don't get me wrong. But I can hit it with Earthquake. And two, it halves the speed of that Thundurus Incarnate, which makes it not a threat anymore. It cripples it. It's like paralyzing the Thundurus, tricking an Iron Ball. And that is really what I want to do. It would be so awesome if it happens. Now if he goes into Ditto trying to copy my Serene Grace, all the better. Because I can trick the Iron Ball. Now obviously he'll transform into me, and he'll have the opportunity to try to hit trick himself to trick it back to me or into whatever I switch out of. But that's where Thunder Wave comes in, because I'll gladly take that Iron Ball back off your hands, but you're going to get paralyzed in the meantime. Because Ditto, by any means necessary, I have to cripple or kill. So any means necessary means I'll take that Iron Ball back and I will Thunder Wave you. But if I'm able to trick the Iron Ball into Thundurus, I'm most likely going to pick up a Life Orb. So when I get that Life Orb, I want to do some damage back. With Air Slash and Dazzling Gleam, especially if it comes down to, hey, I need to do a few Paraflinches, because I'm running Serene Grace, and that's what Togekiss does, it Paraflinches. Although, in full disclosure, I wasn't planning on running a fully offensive Super Luck Togekiss, but I decided to go with this because it's awesome. But that is max special attack, 244 in speed. 244 in HP and just 12 in speed, and that's just to avoid being speed crept myself. Just gives me that extra 2 points in speed so that if someone tries to be cheeky and outspeed me by 1, I'll outspeed you by 1. And again, I don't need to invest any more in speed because 1, I'm trying to Thunderwave things, and 2, as I mentioned before, his speed tiers in the middle here, if you're a base 80, it's not even worth trying because they're either up high or they're way low. So not even worth trying to speed creep the Portland Crobats if at base 80. Moving on, we go to our 5th Pokemon, and that is Mew. And I'm also running an Iron Ball trick on Mew because I'm ballers like that. And I don't think he's going to expect the same thing twice. I ran this in the UAL my first week with dual weakness policy. And the first one made my opponent shit his pants, but he had an answer. He had the Oka Berry on Ferrothorn, and Hidden Power Fire didn't kill it, so I lost my first sweeper. But then when I did it again, I was able to sweep with Kyurem. Because most people, when you do something tricky like this once, they do not expect it a second time. So sometimes doubling down on the strategy is a very good strategy. And if I miss the Iron Ball on Thundurus, maybe I can do it with Mew. I don't know. I can try. I'm going to try. I can also possibly slap an Iron Ball onto Mandibuzz, or onto Hydreigon, or onto even Infernape and slow it down. You know, obviously I don't have to worry about it being up in the air, but if I can slow it down, that's just as good. And obviously, he's not going to stay in on Mega Venusaur. He's not going to switch into Mega Venusaur on Mew, because what if I Psychic, you know? In fact, Psychic is one of the few ways of really breaking down Mega Venusaur, so he's not going to play around Mega Venusaur with Mew. So I could possibly come in on Mega Venusaur, threaten it out, and trick the Iron Ball into something. And that's what I'm going to try to do. We have Thunder Wave on here for the exact same reason as Togekiss. If Ditto comes in to try to get my set, because Mew can do a lot of things. And if you have a Ditto, if you want to scout, you're going to go into the Mew to see what that Mew set is. And I got a surprise for you. You might give me the Iron Ball back, but I'll Thunder Wave you in return. We have Psychic because I need an attack, and we have Transform. Now Transform is interesting. Maybe if I'm in on Mega Venusaur, I transform into it because he decided to stay in for whatever reason, because he thought I wasn't going to hit it with Psychic and wants to go with like a Leech Seed or something. I'll eat that Leech Seed all day, Sleep Powder, whatever, because I'm going to transform into that Mega Venusaur. I don't think that Mega Venusaur is going to be able to do a whole lot to me back. I can synthesis up, and I can use Hidden Power Flying, because you notice my IV spread there. That's Hidden Power Flying IVs. If that Mega Venusaur is running a Hidden Power, which I suspect it will. So, not a Hidden Power Dark, but I'll have Hidden Power Flying, and I'll be able to hit Infernape, or Mega Venusaur, or all those good stuff with Hidden Powers. So, hope that pans out. Or, like, let's say I have a tricked Iron Ball onto Thundurus, and now I can just transform into that thing, and I can kill him with his own Thundurus. That would be pretty sweet. Or even if I transform into Infernape or anything else. And here's the other part of that. Remember how when we were talking about Zoroark, I said that Ditto can't transform into a Pokemon behind an illusion? Well, that counts for Mew if Mew is transformed into another Pokemon. Ditto can't come in and transform into what I transformed into. So that Ditto becomes just a blob of 48 base stats all around, ready to take a hit for something. Or something else will take a hit. But that could really throw off my opponent's game. And you'll notice the theme for Togekiss and Mew here is to sow the seeds of chaos into the Portland Crobats and try to reap the benefits for myself. But the spread is specially defensive. We do have max HP, which means I'll have way more HP than a transformed Ditto because base 100. And it's not really trying to take any specific hits. I just decided to balance it a little more specially than defensively. And I also put a little bit more punch into Psychic so that I at least 50% chance of two-hit KO the Mega Venusaur. Because that's important. But moving on to our final Pokemon, we have Gliscor, who's running Earthquake, Aerial Ace, Substitute, and Baton Pass. With the Toxic Orb. I haven't run Toxic Orb Gliscor in quite a while. I usually do crazier things with this. And yeah, this one's it's not too bad. It's pretty common actually. Pretty common actually. Careful nature, especially defensive. Again, 12 in speed, so I don't get speed crept, because I don't like being speed crept on my defensive Pokemon. And the whole point of this is to come in, take a hit, sub Baton Pass. I was planning on running Defog, but then I wouldn't be able to run the Toxic Orb, and I didn't want to put Defog on Mew or Togekiss, so I'm going to hope that he doesn't set up rocks so that my sashes don't get broken. But maybe I can sub Baton Pass into Scolipede to break down some of my opponent's offense. Or I can sub pass into Kingdra to get a good, powerful Draco Meteor off, or even set up for the sweep. Or I can even Baton Pass the sub into Togekiss or Mew so that I can be absolutely sure my Iron Ball is going to hit its mark. But yeah, this Gliscor is nothing special. But that is my team. Let me know in the comment section what you think. This is a crazy team. I'm not sure if it's going to work. If it doesn't, it's probably going to be a spectacular loss. But that's okay. It's only Pokemon. But my opponent is the Portland Crobats again, coached by Akki. Absolutely go check him out. Hashtag go check him out. And subscribe to me, subscribe to my opponent, subscribe to all the coaches in the PMC, subscribe to the analyst too, subscribe to the PMC channel. And stay tuned for our Week 2 match because I think it's going to be a doozy. I'm your Coach Esplancer and I'm signing out.